Season 1 of Money Heist, encompassing parts 1 and 2, introduces the Professor, a genius mastermind who has devised a heist on the Royal Mint of Spain, during which his team will print 2.4 billion euros. The Professor's assembled team of robbers are all strangers with their own unique skills and code names to mask their true identities. Tokyo is a desperate criminal on the run from the police after a bank robbery gone wrong resulted in the death of her boyfriend. Berlin is the Professor's hot-headed half-brother, who will take charge of the team inside the bank while the Professor surveils the area outside. Secretly, Berlin is suffering from a terminal illness that will kill him in a few short years. Moscow and Denver are a pair of father and son mechanics. Helsinki and Oslo are Serbian cousins that provide the muscle. Nairobi is an expert counterfeiter, and Rio is a young and prodigious hacker. The Professor trains his new crew in a secluded home for 5 months, where they bond as a team and makeshift family. Despite the Professor's strict rules of anonymity, Tokyo and Rio secretly fall in love, and Rio reveals to Tokyo his real name. As the heist begins, Berlin leads the team, all wearing red jumpsuits and Salvador Dali masks, into the Royal Mint and takes all of its inhabitants hostage. Those hostages include a high school class, including the British ambassador's daughter Alison Parker, and the bank's employees, including director Arturo Roman and his secretary and mistress Monica, who reveals that she is pregnant with his baby. The robbers force many of the bank employees to begin printing new bills for the team to steal, while Arturo is placed in charge of a crew to dig a tunnel leading out of the bank. As the Professor oversees the heist from the outside, the police bring in the country's most skilled negotiator, Raquel to de-escalate the robbery and save the hostages. Spanish military Colonel Prieto wants to move into the bank quickly and by force to rescue Allison, much to Raquel's resistance. As Raquel tries everything she can to thwart the robbers and save all of the hostages, she meets and falls in love with a stranger named Salva, who, unbeknownst to her, is in fact the Professor, the mastermind of the very heist she is trying to prevent. And although the Professor started this romance as a ruse for his master plan to lead Raquel astray, he does end up developing genuine romantic feelings for her. Raquel's longtime friend and partner Angel has long harbored a love for her, and insists that her new lover is actually the mastermind behind the Royal Mint heist. But before he can prove his theory, he gets into a car accident and falls into a coma. The Professor agrees to release 8 hostages, but Raquel is pressured to negotiate for the sole release of the valuable Alison Parker instead. The Professor records this negotiation and broadcasts it to the public, who become outraged with the police for valuing one life over all of the others, sparking widespread support for the robbers. Back inside the bank, when Alison manages to secretly access her phone, the police are able to hack into her camera and discover the real identities of Rio and Tokyo, exposing them to the obsessive public. When Berlin catches Monica with a phone, he orders Denver to kill her, making her a violent example to the other hostages. Denver can't bring himself to kill the innocent woman, and instead shoots her in the leg and hides her in a vault, lying to Berlin that the deed was done as commanded. Berlin grows more violent and unstable, including forcing one of the hostages, Ariadna, to serve as his personal sexual companion. As Denver cares for Monica in secret, the pair end up falling in love. Thinking his son has committed murder, Moscow has a panic attack. The other robbers dress some hostages up in red jumpsuits and masks and take them out on the roof so that Moscow can blend in with them and get some much needed air. But when Arturo learns that it is his mistress Monica who has supposedly been killed, he attacks Moscow. The watching police, thinking Arturo is one of the robbers, shoot him in the shoulder, forcing everyone to race back inside. After this chaos, Denver reveals to Moscow that he has kept Monica alive, much to his father's relief. Unfortunately, unaware of Monica's survival, the Professor becomes furious at Berlin for ordering an innocent woman's death, and so he secretly plants incriminating evidence pointing to Berlin for the police to find. With Berlin's identity exposed, the police begin running false reports about him in the news, in an effort to turn both the robbers and the general public against him. Arturo then rallies an escape attempt for many of the hostages. During this, he catches his pregnant mistress Monica having sex with Denver, devastating and infuriating him. During the chaotic escape attempt, Oslo is bludgeoned in the head, knocking him out, and the police storm the bank, leading to a chaotic shootout. Ultimately, 15 hostages manage to escape, though Arturo is still stuck inside the bank, and Oslo is left in a vegetative state, forcing his cousin Helsinki to put him out of his misery. To rally the remaining hostages back to their side, the robbers offer to pay them 1 million euros each for their cooperation. When a desperate Arturo continues his plot to escape, he manages to steal a gun and threaten Denver's life to secure his own freedom. Torn between her baby's father and her new lover, Monica knocks out Arturo to save Denver. In turn, Denver asks Monica to join the robbers upon their escape and live a life with him and his newfound wealth. Back outside of the bank, Raquel finds the mansion in which the professor trained his crew, and her ex-husband Alberto leads the forensics team to scour it for DNA. When Alberto grows suspicious of the professor and arrests him, the team inside the bank lose faith that the mastermind can save himself and make plans to abort their mission. As Tokyo leads Rio and Denver to stage a mutiny, Berlin and the others thwart the plot, and for her disloyalty, Tokyo is forced out of the bank by Berlin, where she is then apprehended by the police to the devastation of her lover Rio. Meanwhile, the imprisoned professor secretly beats himself up to frame Alberto as jealously assaulting him, earning his freedom. Unfortunately, Raquel finally realizes that her new lover is in fact the robbery mastermind, and personally arrests him. The professor declares that despite beginning their relationship under false pretenses, his love for her is genuine. When Raquel refuses to believe him, the professor is forced to knock her out to escape. Upon discovering the pair's relationship, Raquel's fellow agents accuse her of being the professor's accomplice in the Royal Mint heist, turning her into a wanted criminal desperately trying to bring down her former lover and clear her own name. With the professor and many of his fellow robbers' identities exposed and the police closing in, time is running out to complete the heist. The professor sends a team to rescue Tokyo from the police, who then drives a motorbike past police barricades to re-enter the Royal Mint. Unfortunately, as her fellow robbers help her inside, Moscow is shot and mortally wounded by the police. Everyone is devastated by Moscow's death, though they have no time to mourn him. As the police prepare to storm the bank by force and put a final end to the heist, the crew inside finally finish their escape tunnel, reuniting with the professor. With no time to print any more money, the team bag up the 1 billion euros they have successfully printed and race them through the tunnels and out of the bank and into the professor's secret warehouse. Unfortunately, Raquel manages to track down the warehouse to confront her lover, who finally convinces her that their love is real. Meanwhile, the police storm inside the bank, rescuing the hostages and opening fire on the robbers. Monica joins the robbers as they defend themselves against the police forces and race to the tunnels for safety. As his allies flee, Berlin chooses to stay behind, sacrificing himself to hold off the police forces long enough to allow everyone else to successfully escape with the money and achieve their happy endings. 1 year later, the disgraced Raquel travels to the Philippines, where she is happily reunited with the professor. You know, watching the Money Heist thieves rob a bank just to make a quick buck looks pretty stressful. Fortunately for me, I've got a cell phone plan that saves me so much money every month and never breaks the bank, thanks to this video's sponsor, Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile is a premium wireless service without premium prices. All plans include unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. Literally 98% of Americans are within Mint's 5G coverage, and their 4G LTE coverage has a reach of 99%. They offer bulk buying of 3, 6, and 12-month durations, where the more months you buy up front, the more you save. Plus, there's so many different data options, so you don't overpay for a one-size-fits-all that you don't actually need. They offer 5, 15, and 20 gigabyte plans, plus an unlimited plan that comes with a free 20 gigabyte personal hotspot. And I know what you're thinking, that switching to a new wireless service is difficult and not worth the hassle. But Mint Mobile makes the process super easy. You can use your own unlocked phone or shop for a new phone on Mint's website, and then you get to keep your old number and all of your existing contacts. Literally within minutes of signing up, you can have your new service activated using eSIM from the comfort of your home. Mint's customer support can walk you through any questions you might have along the way, and 96% of customers have rated themselves as highly satisfied with Mint's customer care. And right now, Mint Mobile is offering their biggest sale of the year with 50% off their unlimited plans. That means you can lock into their lowest price ever, with a 3, 6, or 12-month plan at just $15 a month. Every plan comes with an unconditional 7-day money-back guarantee, so what are you waiting for? Go click the link in the description to take advantage of this incredible offer before it goes away. Thanks to Mint Mobile for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the recap. In part 3 of Money Heist, 3 years have passed since the success of the Royal Mint heist. The sleazy Arturo has capitalized on the widespread media attention to become a motivational speaker. Nairobi and Helsinki are now living together in Argentina. Denver and Monica, with her new robber codenamed Stockholm, raised their baby Cincinnati together in Indonesia. The professor has been living happily with Raquel, now going by Lisbon, with her mother and daughter in the Philippines. And Tokyo and Rio have been living in a romantic getaway in Panama. Unfortunately, as Tokyo grows bored of a simple island lifestyle and heads to the city for some fun, the police track down and arrest Rio. Tokyo then desperately seeks out the help of the professor, who sends away Lisbon's family and reunites with the rest of the robbers. In a plot to rescue Rio, the professor announces plans for a new heist, stealing gold from the Bank of Spain, a plot originally devised by Berlin years prior. And so the professor takes his team, Tokyo, Lisbon, Denver, Stockholm, Nairobi, and Helsinki, to an Italian monastery to prepare for the new heist. There they are joined by new team members Bogota, Marseille, and Palermo, who'd had a romantic affair with Berlin before his death. The beginning of the heist involves creating absolute chaos, which the robbers instigate by using zeppelins to drop millions of euros across Madrid. As the public begin taking the money, creating the desired chaos, the professor reveals himself to the world as a heroic Robin Hood-like figure, declaring that the government has illegally detained Rio to torture without a trial. And so the public largely supports the robbers, using their Dali masks as a symbol of resistance. In response, Colonel Preto orders military forces to quell the uproar. Using the military forces as cover, Tokyo, Denver, Stockholm, Nairobi, Helsinki, Palermo, and Bogota enter the bank, taking over 300 hostages while the professor and Lisbon surveil from an RV outside. Inside the bank, Palermo leads the team, as while being in a relationship with Berlin, he helped devise and intimately understand every aspect of the heist. One of the new hostages is Caesar Gandia, the bank's head of security, who vows to stop at nothing to bring down the robbers and thwart their heist. Some of the other hostages happen to be accomplices planted in the bank to assist with the heist, and Bogota leads them in a mission to break into a vault to access the gold and begin melting it for easier transport. The robbers also steal government secrets from a bank vault and release them to the public, creating further chaos and support for their cause. Outside of the bank, Rio is being kept in a secret prison and tortured by the pregnant inspector Alicia Sierra. She brings her captor to Madrid as she joins the operation to thwart the heist against the Bank of Spain. Colonel Preto places Luis Tamayo in charge of the operation, and Angel, recovered from his coma, joins the mission against his former partner and object of desire, Lisbon. Preto and Tamayo then send a special forces team led by Suarez to enter the bank and take down the robbers. Fortunately, the professor comes up with a plan to thwart this, and the robbers apprehend the police squad, forcing them to send an embarrassing video to Preto and Tamayo. The professor is then able to negotiate the release of Suarez's squad, along with 40 hostages, in exchange for the release of Rio. After being released by the police, Rio enters the bank to emotionally reunite with his allies. But as he does, Arturo storms inside the bank with him to join the hostages, in an effort to win back his former lover and the mother of his child, Stockholm, who remains adamant in her disdain for him. Meanwhile, Rio breaks up with Tokyo, believing she will be better off without him. As part 3 comes to a close, tired of Tamayo's orders, Sierra takes matters into her own cold-blooded hands. She baits Nairobi into a trap and has a sniper shoot her. As the other robbers attempt to save Nairobi's life, police forces storm the bank, which the robbers attempt to combat with RPG missiles. Meanwhile, as the professor and Lisbon attempt to evade the pursuing authorities, Lisbon is captured by Suarez, who on Sierra's orders fakes the former police negotiator's death, devastating the professor and for the first time, leaving him feeling defeated. In part 4 of Money Heist, the team of robbers inside the Bank of Spain argue whether or not to send Nairobi outside to acquire life-saving surgery. Palermo values the safety of the entire team over Nairobi's life, refusing to allow her to leave, knowing the police would capture and interrogate her. Desperate to save her friend, Tokyo stages a coup, usurping Palermo as leader of the heist and personally performing surgery on Nairobi, guided by a doctor over video call. As Nairobi recovers from her injury, she is nursed back to health by and begins a relationship with Bogota. Outside of the bank, a devastated professor escapes Suarez's team with the help of Marseille. Tokyo comforts the grieving professor over the radio and helps him realize that Lisbon may still be alive as a captive of Alicia Sierra, just as Rio had been. And so the professor and Marseille devise a plan to free Lisbon. Meanwhile, Sierra is in fact torturing Lisbon in an attempt to get her to turn on the professor and his team. Sierra reveals that she has discovered the location of Lisbon's mother and daughter in the Philippines, threatening their safety if Lisbon doesn't cooperate. Back inside the bank, Denver is frustrated that Arturo has weaseled his way inside in a desperate attempt to win back Stockholm. Arturo further instigates conflict when he attempts to lead the other hostages in rising up against their captors. Fortunately, the professor has secretly placed Moscow's goddaughter Manila inside the bank to pose as a hostage to help thwart any such resistance. Palermo is furious that he has lost control of the team and spitefully frees the handcuffed head of security Gandia to create chaos within the bank. The highly skilled and violent soldier stealthily moves throughout the bank, stalking and attacking the robbers as his prey before managing to capture Tokyo as a hostage of his own. Gandia also accesses a secret safe room inside the bank that is filled with weapons, where he is able to shut off the robbers broadcasting to the professor, resulting in him being blind to all that is happening within the bank. From within his safe room, Gandia communicates with Tamayo on the outside to coordinate their plot to thwart the heist. The professor promises to punish Palermo for his betrayal, but for now, he is still needed to complete the heist. Palermo joins his fellow robbers in their fight against Gandia to rescue Tokyo. As the robbers close in on the security head, the villain tragically executes Nairobi and escapes, devastating everyone. Denver angrily throws a grenade at Gandia, injuring him as he flees. While mourning the loss of Nairobi, the robbers unite to finally rescue Tokyo and capture Gandia once again. Meanwhile, outside the bank, the professor broadcasts to the world videos of Rio recounting his illegal torture at the hands of Sierra, while Marseille tracks down an officer involved in the torture and forces him to corroborate Rio's account. This infuriates Tamayo and further ruins the police's reputation. And so Tamayo tries to force Sierra into taking full responsibility for all of these acts. Instead, Sierra publicly exposes all of the government and police corruption surrounding the heist, ruining her reputation but taking Tamayo down with her. In turn, Sierra is fired, leading her to go rogue to try to take down the professor herself. As part 4 comes to a close, the professor assembles a new team, including Manila's father Benjamin and the loyal Marseille, to help him rescue Lisbon from the police. As Lisbon is taken to the Supreme Court to testify, the professor's team stages a successful extraction mission. Knowing the safest place for Lisbon, away from the grasp of the police, is inside the bank, the professor has her dropped off via helicopter onto the bank's roof. There, she is finally reunited with the other robbers. Unfortunately, as the professor celebrates the freedom of his lover, he is found by the vengeful Sierra, who holds him at gunpoint. In part 5 of Money Heist, flashbacks reveal how Berlin and Palermo work together to masterfully craft every aspect of the Bank of Spain gold heist. Amidst this plotting, Berlin marries a young woman named Tatiana and reunites with his estranged adult son, Raphael. Berlin takes Raphael under his wings to teach him how to be an expert thief, but their relationship fractures once again when Berlin discovers that Tatiana and Raphael have fallen in love and run away together. Fortunately, Berlin has his ultimate love, the gold heist, to soothe his broken heart. Unfortunately, in the present, the late Berlin's masterful heist is on the verge of complete failure. Sierra tortures the professor for all of the plans behind the heist, but he refuses to cooperate. And so she has him radio the robbers inside the Bank of Spain, apologizing to them all for failing them, as they have been defeated and will soon be arrested. Despite Angel's insistence on keeping the bank robbery a police matter, a desperate Tamayo calls in the military to storm the bank and end the heist once and for all. With the professor captured and the military approaching, the robbers attempt to negotiate their surrender by offering the release of several hostages, including the injured Gandia. But after releasing Gandia, Lisbon realizes that Tamayo and the other officers are unaware of the professor's capture, meaning Sierra has gone rogue. And so Lisbon inspires her fellow robbers to hold on to hope that the professor can still come up with a plan to escape Sierra and help them flee the bank with both the gold and their lives. Amidst the conflict, Arturo rallies several hostages to stage another coup, stealing guns and shooting and injuring Denver in the process. Enraged by Arturo's constant antagonistic actions, Stockholm snaps and shoots him for revenge. As Arturo bleeds out, Stockholm has remorse for her violent act, saving his life and taking him out of the bank to receive proper medical treatment. Meanwhile, back in the professor's hideout, Marseille and Benjamin arrive to discover Sierra's villainous presence. As Sierra holds them all at gunpoint, Tamayo announces to the public that Sierra is a traitor and will be imprisoned with the robbers upon their defeat. And that's when the pregnant Sierra suddenly goes into labor. The professor and his allies help Sierra deliver her baby, which she names Victoria, and convince her to join their team in order to provide a better life for her daughter and avoid a lengthy prison sentence. Back at the bank, a military unit led by Commander Sagasta and accompanied by a bloodthirsty Gandia breach the bank to put a violent end to the heist. Sagasta's squad blow up the roof to enter the bank, injuring Helsinki in the blast. The other robbers are quickly overwhelmed by the highly skilled soldiers, and soon Tokyo, Manila, and Denver are all cornered inside the bank's kitchen, with the military squad doing everything they can to enter and execute them. Several levels below them, Stockholm finds a dumbwaiter in which her allies can use elevator cables to climb to safety. But before they can, snipers open fire, striking Tokyo repeatedly in the arms and legs. Realizing there is no hope for her escape, Tokyo insists that Denver and Manila leave her behind. As Denver and Manila flee, Rio manages to break a hole in the ceiling in the hopes of lifting his lover Tokyo to freedom. But as their hands clasp, the military squad breach the kitchen. As Gandia stands over Tokyo to kill her, she sacrifices herself, killing Gandia and most of the military squad in a massive explosion. Following the attack, Sagasta lies about all of his squad being killed in the explosion. But secretly there is one other survivor, Arteche, who stealthily stages a plot to take down the unsuspecting robbers. Outside of the bank, Angel is furious at Tamayo for ordering the attack and costing so many lives. As the professor mourns Tokyo's death, Sierra kidnaps him and escapes with her baby. Sierra then tracks down Tamayo and holds him at gunpoint, offering to turn over the professor and allow Tamayo to take credit as a hero in exchange for him clearing her name. Instead, Tamayo refuses and calls the cops, prompting the professor to escape his binds and help Sierra evade the police, finally earning her full trust. Back inside the bank, the remaining robbers begin the final step of the heist, placing their refined gold pieces in drainage pipes that lead directly to the professor, Sierra, Marseille, and Benjamin on the outside, who have their team collect the riches. Unfortunately, the group are then robbed by a rival team of thieves, led by none other than Berlin's ex-wife Tatiana and his son Raphael. Arteche then helps Sagasta stage a coup inside the bank, allowing more soldiers inside to apprehend the robbers, fully defeating them. The professor, wanting to go down with his team, leaves Sierra in charge of finding the stolen gold, then surrenders himself to Tamayo and joins his fellow robbers at the bank under police custody. Sierra loyally leads the professor's outside team to find the gold before being confronted by Tatiana and Raphael. Sierra then passes along a message from the professor, who promises to give them both an equal share of the riches. Reminded of their shared love for Berlin, Tatiana and Raphael agree to the terms and allow Sierra to take the gold. As the series comes to a close, the public learns that Spain's gold reserve has been completely stolen, and the economy begins to collapse. The professor offers to return the gold and save the economy, making Tamayo a hero, in exchange for the freedom of all of the robbers. Instead, the professor turns over brass ingots painted gold, leaving Tamayo with a choice: tell the truth and defeat the professor, though tanking the entire nation's economy, or commit to the professor's lie and be hailed as a hero. And so Tamayo lies to the public that the robbers have all been killed in a shootout, and that the gold has been successfully recovered. And so all of the robbers are presumed dead by the world, allowing them to live lives in peace with their newfound riches without fear of being caught. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and why not check out this recommended video while you're at it.